Hello everyone and welcome to the course of Energy Engineering. I am Swapnil Prakash Aute, working as an Associate Professor in Department of Mechanical Engineering of Maratha Vidya Prasarak Samaj, Karmavir Advocate Baburao Ganpatrao Thakre College of Engineering, Nashik. We are learning Unit 1, that is Introduction and Thermal Power Plants. In the previous lecture, we discussed about the energy scenario in the world as well as in India. Whereas in this lecture, we will learn about energy scenario in Maharashtra. As we have already seen in the previous lectures that Maharashtra is a state generating highest amount of electricity across India. This is the list of various power stations owned by Mahagenco. It can be seen that the highest installed capacity is that of Chandrapur Super Thermal Power Station, followed by Koyna Hydroelectric Project situated in Satara district. The total installed capacity of Mahagenco is around 12,000 megawatt. If you go through this list of power plants, almost 7 power plants in Chandrapur, Jalgaon, Nagpur, Beed, Nashik, Nagpur and Akola are thermal power station. The Uran gas turbine power station in Raigad operates on natural gas. Koyna power station operates on hydroelectricity. Ghatgar power plant is a hydroelectric power plant. Moreover, it is a pump storage as well. There are few more small hydropower plants in Maharashtra and their together installed capacity is around 379 megawatt. Mahagenco also owns one solar power plant and its installed capacity is 180 megawatt. This is the list of power plants owned by private companies such as Adani, Indiabulls, Tata, KSK Energy Ventures, Reliance and CESC. The total installed capacity by private players in Maharashtra is close to 9,000 megawatt. If you go through the types of power plants owned by the private players, then most of these power plants are thermal power stations. Apart from Trombay power station owned by Tata is a gas power plant, and Mulshi power plant situated at the Mulshi dam is a hydroelectric power plant. These are some of the power plants which are under construction and commissioning and owned by Mahagenco. There are 3 power plants at Koradi, sorry, 2 power plants at Chandrapur and 1 at Parali. After commissioning of this power plant, the installed capacity will increase by around 3,000 megawatt in Maharashtra. Total power generation in Maharashtra as on today is around 38,000 megawatt. As far as distribution of this power plant on the basis of fuel is concerned, 3/4, that is 73% of the energy is electricity is derived from coal-based thermal power plants, and 16% of energy is derived from renewable power plants, followed by 9% electricity derived from hydroelectric power plants. Salient features of power generation in Maharashtra are it is having highest overall generation capacity and highest thermal installed capacity in India. Maharashtra has very well balanced generation portfolio involving thermal, hydel and gas station along with solar power plant. Now, having balanced generation portfolio is important for any state electricity board, because if you take example of thermal power plant and hydroelectric power plant, both types of power plants have their own advantages and disadvantages. However, they are very complementary to each other. So under various scenarios, one of them is very useful for continuous supply of power in the state, and that's why balanced generation portfolio is very important. Maharashtra is one of the top states in India in terms of installed renewable electricity capacity. Maharashtra is also one of the prominent states considering the installation of wind power project, second to Tamil Nadu in India. Among the renewable sources of energy, solar energy has a huge potential for power generation in Maharashtra. Now let us see some of the concepts related to power generation. First of them is load shedding. As most of us are aware of this phenomena, demand, which is also called as load or consumption, when it is higher than the supply, that results in power deficit and may lead to blackout. Blackout means if there is a power deficit for a sustained period of time, then there is entire grid failure, and that is called as blackout. The solution to tackle this issue is to increase the electricity supply to cater the demand in total. However, this solution has to deal with construction and commissioning of the power plants, and it will take that solution takes a lot of time. So meanwhile, the supply is increased to meet the demand. Systematic, scheduled and region-wise blackouts are executed, which are called as load shedding. The reasons for load shedding are obviously the lack of supply to meet the demand. And why there is a lack of supply? So there are three reasons enlisted over here. The first is shortage of fuel, which might be due to the lower supply of the fuel from the domestic sources, problem in transportation, or some issue with the import of the fuel. Another reason can be lower installed capacity. Now this might be due to the misjudgment of the policymakers, or the larger time taken for the completion and commissioning of the power plants than what was stipulated or what was planned. Another reason of lower installed capacity might be breakdown of the power plant due to poor maintenance. Third reason for the load shedding can be sustained rise in the demand. Now this is down to again poor judgment of the policymakers, or it can be some unanticipated rise in the population, or rise in the electrification of some sectors. It can also be attributed to the higher rate of industrialization in particular state. So if we can take care of these reasons, then the load shedding can be reduced. Another interesting concept which is taken very seriously across the globe is carbon credit. The United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, that is IPCC, developed a carbon credit proposal to reduce worldwide carbon emissions in 1997 agreement known as the Kyoto Protocol. As per this Kyoto Protocol, a carbon credit is a permit that allows the company that holds it to emit certain amount of carbon dioxide or other greenhouse gases. Other greenhouse gases are listed in this slide at the bottom. One credit permits the emission of mass equal to 1 ton of carbon dioxide. What does this mean is, suppose there are two companies, company A and company B, and both are having similar energy consumption. Now based on their energy consumption, if government sets a target of emitting 100 tons of greenhouse gases to both the companies, then both the companies are expected to meet that target. Suppose company A, instead of emitting 100 units of greenhouse gases, it has emitted 92 units of greenhouse gases, then it will earn 8 carbon credits. Now that means in future the company can emit 8 tons additional carbon dioxide, or it can sell that 8 carbon credits to any other company. Now how company A can emit 92 carbon credits instead of 100 is by adopting better environmental practices. On the other hand, let us see company B also had the target of 100 carbon credits, but since it has not adopted environmental friendly practices, it is emitting 110 tons of greenhouse gases or carbon dioxide, which means it is violating the target set by the government by 10 units. Now either the government will fine that company for those 10 units, or what company B can do is it can purchase 8 carbon credits from company A and pay fine only for 2 units of greenhouse gas emission. So that is how the carbon credits can work, which means private companies are thus doubly incentivized to reduce greenhouse emissions. First, they will be fined if they exceed the cap, that means the limit. Second, they can make money by saving and reselling some of their emission allowances. The ultimate goal of carbon credit is to reduce emission of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. And apart from carbon dioxide, these are the lists of other greenhouse gases. Now let us see, there are some pitfalls in power reforms, or you can also say power policies related to power reforms. So the first pitfall or shortcoming is need of permanent energy policy. Most of the time governments in Maharashtra has formed energy policies which are very short-sighted. Sometimes these policies are formed only for the period for which that government is in power. However, for sustainable development and to meet the long-term demand, energy policies should be framed for the longer period of the time, something like for 2 to 3 decades. And whichever government will get elected in that period of the time should adhere to that energy policy, and it should work according to that energy policy. This is beneficial in the long term. The second problem is they are not encouraging the investment, which is the other way around. Now if government is not able to construct, commission and maintain the power plants, then it is very difficult to meet the rising demands. Now in order to tackle this issue, government should encourage the government should encourage private companies to invest in power sector. Moreover, it should also encourage the foreign direct investment in the energy sector of India. Third pitfall is rationalize subsidies. I hope everyone understands the subsidies, but let us take an example. If government is buying some commodity at the price of rupees 10, but when it is providing that commodity to the citizens of the country at, let us say, rupees 6, then the charge of rupees 4 is borne by the government, which is called as subsidy. Now any kind of subsidy is always the burden on the cash flow of the nation, and it should be provided only for the weaker section of the society where the subsidy is really required. Now for that, government has to create awareness among the citizens of the nation, and then they should rationalize these subsidies so that their misuse can be prevented. It should reach only to the people who are needy, such as weaker section of the society, and it will reduce the burden on the cash flow of the nation. The energy policies should also foster the energy security to tackle fuel disruption scenario, such as problems in the transportation of the fuel, problems related to the import of the fuel, and at the same time it should foster the energy security by encouraging government organization as well as private organization in exploring newer resources in the geography of the nation. Lastly, collection, consistency, transparency and availability of energy data across the energy system at central and state government level has been a historic issue. correct decisions can be taken based on the correct data, and that's why this is one more pitfall in the power reform, and it should be taken care. The next concept is cascade efficiency. When energy is generated at the power plant and when it reaches to the end user, it has to pass through several stages, and at each stage there is some inefficiency associated with that stage owing to the loss of the energy, and therefore by the time energy reaches to the end user, it is not in the same amount as that of it is produced at the site of generation. So the efficiency of electricity which has reached to the end user as compared to the generated is called as cascade efficiency. The cascade efficiency from generation to user is denoted by eta C, and it is product of all the efficiencies for the product of all efficiencies in intermediate stages, such as efficiency at generation, efficiency at step-up station, efficiency at transmission, efficiency at high voltage station, efficiency at sub-transmission, and finally efficiency at distribution. Typically, cascade efficiency in transmission and distribution is 80 to 90% as that of generated. So quiz for this lecture is: which is the largest capacity government and private power plant in Maharashtra? Number 2, explain the concept of carbon credits. Answers of the last quiz: name top 3 countries by total primary energy consumption. These are China, USA and India in descending order of TPES. Contribution of which fuel is highest in India for energy generation? The answer is coal. Which sector consumes highest energy in India? The answer is industry. For which fuel India has highest dependency on import? Answer is oil. Thank you.